Live! We're going live, we're going live. And I'm shredding on my shred guitar. Shred-tastic. Are we live? Are we big bad and back for another exciting, fun-packed Feedback Friday? I see a commercial coming up. Yes, I am noodling, so that means I must be live. How are you all? Did you all have a wonderful Halloween? I'm not sure, obviously Halloween is very, I was about to say it's very kid-orientated. I know growing up in England, Halloween was definitely kids. And when you got a little older, you barely did Halloween anymore. In fact, when I say a little older, I think by the time I was about 9 or 10, no more Halloween. But I moved to America. And I remember I got here like October the 15th. First time I came here was, well, not first time I came here, but the first, when I came and stayed, work-wise, was October the 15th, 1995. And I remember it very, very well because, of course, a couple of weeks after that was Halloween. And, my band was 2 English guys, an American girl, and a drummer that was actually American as well. When we arrived, we found an American drummer. So it was like split. And we're all like, the 2 of us that were English, British, from the UK, whatever the right way, is basically, we were like, oh, Halloween, do you have friends that have kids? And they're like, no, everybody gets dressed up. And we didn't realise, we went into LA and everybody was in full costume, walking down the street. I mean, even last night I went to go and pick up a medication from Rite Aid and some milk. And it was probably about 9 p.m. And driving back in the Uber, because I had to say, Eric dropped me down and I got an Uber back. I'm in the Uber and there's just streams of, adults, of grown-ups, all dressed up and see, even to this day of living here for 20 plus years, I'm still not used to the fact that Halloween is also an adult, let me move this up a little bit, is also an adult thing. So for me, growing up, it was a kids thing. So my question is, did you all do something fun last night? Did you all get dressed up and do some fun things? Who's here? Chris. Grown-ups, yes. Well, I don't know if I'm a grown-up. I'm an adult. I have kids, so, and responsibilities like mortgages and things. Devin says, hope you're doing well. AJ, cool. Tom C, hello. Todd, Studio 79. Hey, Todd. Hey, AJ. Hey, Andy, otherwise known as Country T. That's how we do it, says Sheila. So you got dressed up last night? Adrian says grown-ups should turn off the lights, shut the curtains and hide behind the sofa. I'm sure there's quite a few people who did that. In the UK, it's like Warren said. Yeah, it is. It's like you get to be an adult or a grown-up and, yeah, it's only little kids that do trick-or-treating. A scary film, maybe? Yes. Kian says, hey, everybody. Gary Hood. Dished out candy. Handed out a bunch of candy, says Mark. I hid my wife went with the grandchildren. Just gave out candy. Last kid got a ton of candy. We had a snowstorm yesterday, so I wasn't so I was shoveling. Ooh. Had band rehearsal, says Tim. Alexi said he was watching Sleepy Hollow last night in Finnish. Oh, you in Finland now, Alexi? Or are you still learning Finnish for when you move to Finland? Well, nothing on Halloween in India, though we did have a blast in Diwali in a few days back. I'll be in India next year, by the way. I think I'm coming to Mumbai for the big music festival. Kian, I think that's a dove. I can't tell, sorry. Hi, Anita. Hi, everybody, says Tim. I live in Halloween costume year round, says Clint. Well, there you go. You see, there it is. That's the answer. Be permanently dressed in Halloween and then you'll always be, at some point in the year, you'll be relevant. I'm down. I'm going to do that. Always practice my drums when weenies are out. Thanks for the thumbs up on the vampire video I posted on Plap yesterday. You're very welcome. I do try my hardest. I'm not I'm not perfect, and as you know, we do a lot of stuff, and I'm continually, you know, in and around forums, our forum, you know, trying to answer chat questions, trying to answer YouTube, and try my darndest to answer everything. But I do like to spend a little bit of time, you know, in the Academy world, and if people are posting videos to songs and stuff like that, I do try my darndest to watch them and be as supportive as possible. And I hopefully, you know, want to encourage everybody to hopefully do the same thing. You know, watch each other's videos, comment on each other's stuff, help each other out. I'm having a very long talk with a new person who's going to be joining our team, who's based in England and in Manchester, and is a Reaper user, because we've had a lot of interest since we put up that video with Glenn. And so we're going to bring him into the team. He's going to do some coursework with us. He's going to be involved with us. He seems to be a really, really nice guy. And we had a good long chat. And, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's the real interaction. It's like there's a lot of professional YouTubers, as you know, that, you know, make a lot of money by getting high views in YouTube. So they spend the whole time like planning out really perfectly executed, edited videos. And as you know, that's not really our strong point. We don't do perfectly edited videos. I'm pausing.
Whoa, whoa,
whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Waiting for an Eric's reaction. No, but I'm all joking aside. It really is about interaction. It's all about engagement. It's all about talking and sharing. That's the most important thing. So, Manchester Music, your attention is noticed, Warren. It's great to see you keeping involved. Oh yeah, I mean that's why we do this. It's absolutely wonderful. We have 60 people on at the moment. That's great. Hopefully everybody will. Does watching too many YouTube videos make you a YouTuber? Maybe. How's that coffee coming, Eric?
Oh yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah.
It's like the videos. It's coming.
It's like the video editing. It's coming on really well. Anyway, so it's really wonderful. So I hope you all have a good time. Sergio says Team Eric, hashtag. Hey Martin, yes, in Denmark. Eric didn't see that. Didn't even see that bus coming. Oh, was there a bus coming, Eric?
I guess I got thrown under the bus.
Team Eric. Darien Island is famous for everyone dressing up for Halloween. #1 city for that night. Ah, there you go. Coffee. I bet Eric dressed up strangely. Eric did his usual hoodie, Weezer glasses. Sorry, I'm just joking. You know, he did his usual fancy, not so fancy dress.
I mean, when people see this face I'm wearing, they always scream.
Apparently everybody screams at his face, he says. I'm not sure what he means by that. Is Eric's hair scary today? Eric's hair is never scary. I mean, this is Eric. He's the king of the hair. So what have I got? I've got my shredding guitar out today, so I can do some finger exercises while we're listening. Hello, Paul. There's a bus that landed in a sinkhole in Pittsburgh. Teen Wolf was on point yesterday. Well, Eric has been mistaken for Teen Wolf many times. Eric! I was actually a little worried after 10 a.m. this morning and he wasn't here yet. I did send him a text that went, Eric! It was ERICCCCKKK. And he said he would be here in 4 minutes, and he was here in about 4 minutes. Eric has good hair, says David. I think we're just all envious of your hair. That's really what it is.
I don't blame you guys.
He says he doesn't blame us. All right. Do you guys ever dress up for black tie events? I go to some of those things sometimes, yes. They're rather fun. Okay, are we streaming in 4K, by the way? Eric? Rick? I don't think we're streaming in 4K. I don't know if that matters. Let's rock, says Tom. All right. What strings do you use on your guitars? I've been going through a lot of different ones. I've still been sort of stuck on... I've been stuck on... What are the ones we've been using? The Sonos strings. We've been using those a little bit. And I think I might do some more. I was always an Ernie Ball guy growing up, so I wouldn't mind going back to them. Apparently it's only in 1080. We're not streaming in 4K.
You can't. This Sleek Studio only uses 1080.
Sling Studio doesn't do 4K. Okay, all right. They say it's a little blurry. What, you mean I'm out of focus? Let's have a look. Am I blurry?
What do you think?
I'm looking at it here. It looks pretty in focus in 1080. I could be wrong.
I could maybe wipe down the lens.
No, I don't think the lens has got anything on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's do some rock and roll. Diodario, yeah, let's just say I prefer Ernie Balls. All right. So first up, we have Ken Hertz. Ken says, a song I collaborated on about love and loss. Okay, I'm very excited. This is going to be a really, really exciting week. Here we go. Here's Ken's song about love and loss. It's called Elizabeth and Me. Whoops. Here we go.
Elizabeth and me, we sit together quietly. She gets up to walk away, yeah, she abandons me. She didn't think I heard her as she got up to walk away. She says you never listen to a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. And I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me were watching movies on TV. And as I lay beside her, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. She says I'm scared of something, so don't ever let me go. And I'm afraid of falling, so we'll have to take it slow. But I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. And I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me, we plan to have a family. A son and a daughter and a dog who waits for me. A house with a backyard and a porch with a swing. A white picket fence, the American dream. But I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. And I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow.
Lovely stuff, and this is going to be a really exciting week of listening to, everyone's songs. Glad we did this, and it means that we can get to talk a lot, not just about like mixing, but production, engineering, songwriting. Now, I like this. I like this. I like this groove on the acoustic. This. I like that feel. I feel like it's got this upbeat acoustic groove. If you go right back to the top here, for instance. You got the E minor there, obviously, but the. So I like it, but what I'm not hearing quite the support for it. I feel like, and I like the song. It's the lyrics are really nice and really straightforward, and I only had to listen to it once to understand what the song is about. It's about this, girl that you're in love with. You're making all these plans, and it sounds like by the end of the song you're not with them anymore, but they still have a hold over you. And I love that. I mean, unrequited love, and we've all been through these emotions, every human being alive. So it's universal, it's a great song idea. But I need something that's going to fit that. So, maybe like maybe your electric guitar be like a. Could have that same kind of. So you've just sort of something that keeps that movement going. And again, a little bit of that in the drums. Not everything has to go doom, cha, dum, cha, dum, da, but something that just helps it drive along. And you could break that up. Instead of that, you could do. Just something that keeps that movement. That's one of the biggest things I noticed was just a lack of something that was helping drive that acoustic. I think the vocals were great. I feel like more of a differentiator between the chorus and the verses. A couple of people said that. Even if it's just like a bam 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 breaking on there bam 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 bam. Yeah, mandolin. I think this is where I think that you have to decide. People are. Delvin says slide guitar makes everything better. Yeah, I think you have to decide. You have to decide what you are as an artist. There's people suggesting pianos and keys. All of those things could be really good. However, who are you, Ken? What is your? Are you more of a folk artist? Do you think you're more of a rock artist? Because I wouldn't want to when you're producing an artist, yourself, and you're writing a song as personal as this, you've got to decide what is your vision for the song. At the moment, it's acoustic guitar, electric guitar, bass, and drums. Are you more of a rock artist, and this is the acoustic version of what you're doing? You know what I mean? Where maybe it's acoustic guitar, simple, electric, and maybe a quartet sound. Are you want to be a little bit more soft pop? Do you want to bring in some piano stuff? I think you have to decide who you are so that you have the right instrumentation. Some people are suggesting mandolin, which could work amazing as well. So my next question would be, are you a little folky? Do you want some folk elements in there? Are you maybe a little bit more country? I think these are the kind of things. Michael's saying shaker and tambourine. Agreed. Something like that, a tambourine with, and I like using tambourines with heads on them. When they're solo, do you hear that? It sounds wrong. In the track, it's beautiful. Remember, all the Beatles tambourines had heads on them. There's something about that sound that gets lost. That in a track just creates so much movement. So don't be afraid to use one of those. I think it's all about... How about some reverse mellotron, says Chad. Says Chaz, sorry. Yeah, I think ultimately it's making a decision of like who it is that you want to be. What is your genre? Let's see if Ken's answering some of this. I mean, Ken, how do you see your... I mean, I think definitely that guitar part. That could have been done on the mandolin. You could also do a melody like a bum, so bum, 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 that could be at the top of the song. You know, finding things like that, little motifs that could be repeated. Like, I mean, I'm doing on electric, that could be on a mandolin part. Again, I think you have to make that decision of like, what, are you pushing this rootsy? Is this a rock band stripped down? Is this like pure full-blown ballad with strings and piano? That's the production aspect there, but I think ultimately more movement, whether it be shaker, whether it be electric guitar, whether it be a mandolin or something moving it along, more movement. If you want to soften it a little bit with some piano, that's fine. The piano chords could maybe come in on the choruses, blocking a G, C and a D, but I wouldn't necessarily immediately go to that. That's just an old favorite. You can put some piano chords down just to block it out. But I mean, to me, it's like when I'm doing acoustic versions of songs or laid back, I usually make a decision as like, is it piano driven or is it acoustic guitar driven? If I make it either piano driven or acoustic guitar driven, it has a freshness and a uniqueness to it. As soon as I muddy the water with maybe arpeggio piano and arpeggioed or strummed acoustic, it starts to sound a little too MOR. I think that, you know, the thing that's beautiful about listening to Zeppelin and bands like that is they had acoustic instruments, but they still sound like edgy. They still have like an attitude to them, and I think that that's important. That's the music we name check. It's classic artists from the 60s and the 70s, particularly the 70s and late 70s, early 80s. When we're talking about that massive production things, is they had definitely had an edge and a direction to them. So I think that's something you have to ask yourself as well. Okay, great work, Ken. I love being able to listen to this. This is fantastic. Next up is Marcus. And don't worry, if any of you missed the our own productions, our own mixes, our own songs and stuff like that, we'll do this again. I mean, we should probably do this once a month, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Next up is Marcus Hoffer. And Marcus' song is called Contagious Hate. And he said, here it is, our first music video to the original Contagious Tape from my band, Velocity Killed the Cat. Love it, Velocity Killed the Cat. I recorded, mixed and mastered, shot the video and edited the video. My huge shout out goes to Warren Huart and of course all the helpful Platt members for helping me get better at mixing each video and comment, with each new video and comment. Hope you enjoy it as much as fun we had making it. Lovely. Here we go, let's give it a listen. I really like this, Marcus. Really, really like it. So, I like that. I love the guitar riff. It's interesting. It sort of reminds me of lots of things I love. I've got a little bit of Ronnie James Dio era, Black Sabbath, which Heaven and Hell is, depends on the day, in my top 10 albums. I absolutely love that record. Neon Nights and Children of the Sun. You know, I've got a very, as you all know, and like all of us, I think here, massively varied palette for music. You know, I can sit down and listen to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis and Be in Heaven, and also Be in Heaven and Hell, and listen to Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath, all in the same day, and be very happy. And, you know, throw in a bit of Tchaikovsky, and I'm a happy man. Look, so I think the main thing, listening down to that, and I agree, lots of people are talking about some of the shredding guitar being a little louder. I think that's definitely a point. I like the idea of it, and I can see that kind of that little line going on Jesus, hey, da, 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 da. I like the way that that's underneath and adding some excitement. So I can see some of the choices that you made there. I think the only thing for me, and is honestly, is this was sent to me, my honest gut responses, and sometimes I just have to be pretty brutal, is I think you should retrack the drums. I think the drums, I like this, but with the drums following the groove exactly the whole time, I feel like I want to hear that occasionally, you know, to like bring up the part, you know. But I think when it comes to "Come Jesus, hey," I want that to be boom, da, ga, dum, boom, boom, dum, ga, dum. I want it to open up, as opposed to boom, dum, boom, dum, dum, boom, boom. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go to that chorus. Can they hear me over the top of this?
Yeah.
When it's playing? Okay, cool. So here. Boom, dum, ga, dum, dum. Da, 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 boom, dum, ga, boom, da, 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 boom, boom, da, boom, boom, da, ga, ga, boom, boom, ga, boom, boom, da, 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 boom. You know, it needs to undouble time there. It needs to open up. Like, not a half-time feel, because it's technically, well, it depends how you want to look at it. But I suppose to argue it, you could say it's like a half-time feel, just a boom, boom, ga, boom, boom, dum, ga, da, 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 boom, dum, ga, dum, dum, da, ra, da, 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 dum, boom, ga. You know, just that can go to ride cymbal if you want, and it can just be ra, da, 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 big open bottom snare, you know. And I think it would just swing better there. That's my gut, honestly, because I'm hearing that dun, 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 as kind of a buckle down moment. Like everybody gets in, and like everybody's like dun, you know, so yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily call it half time. It depends on how you want to count it. Because, but anyway, my point is like, that's what I would do. I think mimicking the groove exactly is like a great trick, but I think I wanted to open out for those choruses and just make it feel like big and open, and you know what I mean, just get it to feel really, really, give it some differentiation as well. Tim's saying China cymbal. It's just like that's really the biggest thing I would do. So I would spend some time, you know, retracking the drums on this. It's a good song. It's got some great ideas, but I need that differentiation. And at the end, at the last chorus, if you want, you know, you could just kind of come back and like down, down, go down, 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 and go to that, but just kind of you know, you could double time it almost. You could, because the moment you're going down, 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 you could down, 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 almost like a marching rhythm at the very end here. So. You know, so you could go from like a halftime feel to almost a double time, you know, march through it. And I think that would be a huge thing. That's the biggest thing for me. I think everything else, mix-wise, bringing those guitars up, bringing those guitars down, are all big things we could talk about. But for me, it's retracking those drums. It's too much of a similar story all the way through. You know, it's got that same, pretty much that same drum groove. So open it up in that sort of halftime feel for the chorus, then maybe on that double chorus and out, go to a marching thing on that and really kind of give it some massive like kind of groove. It's a great song though. I think you did a wonderful job, Marcus. I don't know if Marcus is here, but that's what I would do. Great work. And this is fun to do this. Really, this is a lot of fun. Okay, next up is Magnus. Magnus says, this is my current ongoing production. The end goal is an eclectic long EP or short album type thingy, about 6 or 7 songs. Oh, I hear you. I really want to get my quote-unquote solo record done. Currently working on lyrics and vocal melody. Need to convince a certain friend with a voice to cooperate because nobody deserves the punishment of listening to me doing the singing. I hear you. I could really use some creative input. Writing vocal parts is my proper weakness. Used to always work on this with people, and while bouncing stuff between us, could come up with some great stuff. On my own, I feel stunted, and unfortunately, so this might take a while to power through. The arrangement of the mix will, of course, be altered to fit the vocal once the vocal is in place, so making final decisions is a bit hard at this time. Understand. We will give, don't worry, we're not in here to criticize vocals. This is here to be positive and help and build on success. 74 people watching. This is great for an Academy live stream. Okay, here we go. Magnus Emilson, Slow Cheese. Wow, Magnus is absolutely fantastic. I really like it. It's like, what's interesting though is I know you said you didn't want to sing, and I get it. Quite often I sing songs that I write that I know somebody else is going to sing, but I feel like it exists in this format, and I don't really have much to say about it. I don't know if it needs a guitar because I don't really know. You know, it's like if it's going to be completely like this, it's absolutely fantastic. I think if this was all it was, I can only comment on what it is now because there's no vocals on it. I would probably edge it out a little bit. I feel like it's a little polite at the moment. It's really, really nice. It's really, really good. It just sounds, the parts are really good. The sounds are good, but the mix needs to be a little bit more wrong. Things need to be a little bit more messed up. And the problem is it's like, without a vocal, I don't really know what else to say. I would just say that I would take this song, and if this was where it's at and it never had a vocal on it, I would start like trashing things out. Maybe taking a sound and making it more 8-bit, making it a little bit more trashy, a little bit wrongify it, distortion here and there, you know, it's very, very dry, a little bit of verbs, a little bit of dirty slap delays. Just start kind of messing it up a little bit. Because at the moment, yes, somebody said OMD right away, and I love that. You know, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, wonderful band, and I have a great kind of sense of where you could go with this. But without the vocal, the only thing I would say at the moment is go to the production elements and in a mix and just mess it up a little bit. Just a bit. I'm not talking about like distort the whole track. I'm just like, just wrongify it just a little bit so it doesn't sound quite so much like the sounds that you open up. Because the only problem, or reality, there's no problem, the only reality is with this kind of mix is it does very much sound like you found a lot of really cool sounds and put them together, which I believe is definitely a value. But you want it to sound a little bit more like you could have maybe created these sounds from thin air, which is, again, you know, which is where like distorting things, 8-bitting them, 2-bitting them, 1-bitting them, whatever it might be, sort of gives it a little bit, you know, a little bit of wrongness, a little bit of like, oh, you know, it's got to feel like it's, you know, like German dance music did in the late 60s and early 70s, like the early German synth pop had this, because it was underground feel, this kind of like made in Berlin, surrounded by, you know, the Eastern Bloc, you know, it had this kind of dangerousness to it. I think you need a little bit of that. That's the only thing I would say, but it's unfair because there's no vocal on it, so I don't really know, but that's the thing I would be looking at, is to just wrongify it a little bit. Otherwise, absolutely fantastic. All right, great work, Magnus. And I love this. This has been a lot of fun. All right, next up, thank you, Magnus, for your great work, is Devon. Devon, I think Devon's here, isn't he? Devon said, if this is chosen for Feedback Friday, it's both an honor and terrifying. It's my second attempt at songwriting and production, hence the simplistic nature of the song. Not even sure what box it goes in. Maybe some kind of new ways 80s throwback, perhaps. Anyway, let me have it because I want to improve. I'm kind of a closet musician per se, and I do everything by ear. Drums are manually programmed using mostly my own samples I've recorded on my 67 Ludwig kit. I have a 64, I'm with you. Drums are DI, although technically it's my wife, and quite minimal. That's fine, with a small solo in there, not much of a guitar player. Synth is more of a rhythmic element that gives it like an 80s feel I like. Vocals, I'm no singer, but I'm all I've got. Double track the chorus to try and hide obvious shortcomings there. Really hard time mixing my own vocals. I hear you. Thanks for taking the time. I'd like to improve. Oh, so on Monday the 28th, got advice from Alexi, Fabio, Mark Moore, Paul W. Christian, and chopped the long intro as well as other issues. Okay, great. It looks like everybody got in and helped each other. All right, Devon, very excited to hear.
You got your last sorry a moment ago. You were supposed to forgive me, that's how this goes. It's always the same, the fault's mine, not yours. I'm done with this game, it's too much like a chore and a bore. I can't say I'm sorry anymore. I said it 1,000 times before. I'm too proud to apologize once more. Besides, you know this anger is part of me. It's the ugliest part of me. When does it start to become enough? We've been through this so much, it's really getting rough. Don't misunderstand what I'm trying to say. But I expected more from you than acting this way. So today, I can't say I'm sorry anymore. I said it way too many times before. I'm too damn proud to apologize once more. Besides, you know this anger is part of me. It's the ugliest part of me. I can't say I'm sorry anymore. I said it one too many times before. You're stubborn and you're too proud to say that maybe you were wrong today. Maybe you were wrong today.
Yay! Go Devon, go Devon. Okay, so what I like about this, doing this, is that we get to talk in much more global terms. And you know I love doing this. For me, I love being able to talk about things as a whole because I've spent my life producing and songwriting and playing instruments, and I've worked at labels. You know, so I've been in all of that other side of it as well. You know, not just the you know, the mixing part is really, really cool, but there's more to it than that. And when it's my productions and you guys and girls are mixing my productions, we can talk a little bit more about the mix. But because we specifically did this to, you know, as produced like a pro, I get so much fun. So Devon, I absolutely love it. I love the New Order style vocals. It's really, really cool. Now, I actually would milk it. I would milk how you sing the choruses. I think you could be a little bit more blasé. You know, we didn't have da 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 da. That could just be like da 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 da. You could have it sit a little bit more on the top. You know, think of you know how Bernard sings in New Order, but also think of like Robert Smith. How Robert Smith is just like Tuesday I got murdered by, which is you're doing in the verses. That just kind of like this. So even though it kind of goes in the choruses, that groove, you could have the vocal just kind of flit over the top and just feel, you know, just a little bit like, I don't care, kind of irreverence, which I think you've got in the verses. I think that would really kind of set it apart and make it really disjointed and uncomfortable, which I would really enjoy. On the whole, the song is fantastic. There's some comments about the guitar tone. I actually sort of like how trashed out and wrong it is. It could be maybe a little tiny, lackadaisical, says Devon. Yeah, just kind of like irreverent, just like, if you listen to Robert Smith, he's just always just kind of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It just feels, he just wants to be just like, oh, well, I suppose if we have to, a bit of that, and it's apathy. There you go, just kind of a sense. Because when the 80s happened, the late 70s, early 80s, at least in the UK, for those of you that were there, I mean, just before Thatcher, we had, James Callaghan, and we had 3- and 4-day weeks, and we had people on strike, and we had this whole bunch of 45 to 55-year-old men that felt completely disenfranchised because many of them had, fought in the Second World War and sort of lost friends, and they just felt like here it was in the 70s, and they were thinking they were building something for their families, and yet England was in Britain in particular, that was in a real slump financially, a massive recession, and there was just so many people unhappy, miners' strikes, all this kind of stuff, and then it carried on all the way through into the 80s with all the austerity that the Conservative government brought in, and young people just felt like, what the heck is going on? Punk rock happened, new wave happened, and there was just this kind of sneering punk followed by just apathetic kind of hopelessness, doesn't really matter what they do, they couldn't really change anything. It felt like there was an old guard and an old order that was just kind of controlling it. And that was sort of very contagious in Europe. I think Europe in general felt like that. And it's just, I love the fact that you captured that in so many ways, especially in the verses. I just think the choruses are great, but I think the vocal could go a little bit further, just a little bit, just more like, I couldn't care. This is a big thing about production, and it's difficult, obviously, produce yourself. It's really difficult to do that. And be able to stand back. But, hopefully this is a bit of that sort of production thing. Otherwise, I absolutely loved it. I like that annoying sound that a couple of people didn't like. I like that going all the way through this. I love that. It's just, Great. See that Mark's saying the same thing. He's like, being from the northeast, where the north really suffered the most in the 70s and through the mid 80s. Yeah. And then Scott's saying Morrissey, the king of hopelessness. Yeah. It's like we can have these big philosophical discussions, and when we have all these big technical discussions, I should say, about mixing and stuff. But music is far more than that. It's not about the sound of the toms or something like this. There's a lot more to music than that. And an overall thing is being able to look at something globally is really important. Otherwise, songwriting is fantastic. Production ideas are fantastic. Yes, you could tidy up the mix a little bit more. I think the vocal needs to be a little bit more apathetic in the choruses and louder. And I think also you could take that trashed out guitar, narrow it very slightly, make it nasally and ugly. And it doesn't have to be as loud. It could just be offensive. Just offensive, I think would be another way of describing it. Great work, Devon. This is really, really great. I would love those of you that feel comfortable to let other people in the Academy mix your stuff, if you're comfortable with it. I don't want to put any pressure on people that they have to do that, but this would be really, really huge. And anybody that wants to do a breakdown on the recording or anything, we will host a video and get people, because this is huge. This is total gold. Really good stuff. As Paul Wickham said earlier, this is gold. This kind of stuff is really, really amazing. Great work. All right, next up is Paul Wickham. So yeah, I'll bite, says Paul. This was a fairly recent composition of mine. The famous Magnus collaborated and gave me a selection of string and synth ambient parts for the tune to sit upon, or in, or be wrapped in. Hope you like it. It's called rather grandly Celestial Visions. Okay, excited to hear it. Paul, are you still here? Are you still here? Wow. Really love it. Really, really love it. So yeah, I love that Anthony Phillips intro. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, really, really amazing. Are you an Anthony Phillips fan? I totally hear that at the beginning. I love the idea of this sort of like, you know, acoustic guitar and then that treated sound. It's very, yeah. But Dave Jordan used to do a lot of that, take the DI out of the acoustic as well as miking it and put that through an amp, put effects on it and blend the two together. Really, really amazing. I absolutely love it. Those of you, do you know Anthony Phillips? Anthony Phillips was the original guitar player in Genesis. And he went on and did some solo albums in the 70s. And they were called Private Parts and Pieces. And I believe there was 3 albums, Private Parts and Pieces 1, 2, and 3. He's absolutely phenomenal, mainly acoustic guitar player, and that very much reminiscent of that. And then yes, definitely some Steve Hackett kind of like guitar solo stuff in there, and just in general like a very like late 60s, early 70s British prog feel. But the reason why I pick on Anthony Phillips in particular, because that was a huge influence of mine when I first started playing. Even though I was a big Queen fan, when I got into Queen, I got into the period of, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody and Prophet Song, and I was all into classical music, so I went prog. First thing I did was go Genesis and Yes and all of that stuff, and I went completely prog, ELP, and more obscure Caravan and Camel and all of that kind of stuff. That's where I went. So, you know, really, really fantastic. Well, I'm glad I nailed you on that, Paul. Really amazing stuff. I don't have anything other than praise. I think it's really fantastic. You know, it's just really fantastic. Really, yeah, love it. More of this. I mean, I think you should be able to place this if you haven't already. You should be able to place this on film and TV. Definitely like bed music, this would do really well. Again, you know, those that want to email us and offer up their multitracks, we will definitely send out emails and push people to anybody that wants to offer their multitracks for mixing, for other people to do mixing or additional production to. Please email Eric at Produce Like a Pro. Eric's going to check his email, aren't you, Eric?
I do.
He goes, I do. All right, next up is Mark Peacock. Mark, you're still here, aren't you? Great work, Paul. Really impressed. And this is a track I recorded, says Mark, with a local artist called Lucy. We went mad with this. It started with a simple acoustic song and we decided to get creative. All tracked in a bedroom using 414s and a 57. Composed and arranged in Ableton Live. Side note, all synth grain glitches made up using recordings of bass, acoustic guitars or electric guitars. The only synth is the lead at the end. Was so much fun making this song. All feedback is welcome. Very excited. This is so much fun to do this. This is so much fun for me as well because I'm not just listening to a song that I produced. I get to listen to so much variety. All right, Mark, excited.
Roaming specks in the galaxy, infinite above our heads, yeah. All connected, not expected to see truth. Or question what comes next. Or question, no question, We've forgotten that our eyes open and our hearts are living things, yeah. Until they're not, and what reason have we got to say it's all for nothing, yeah. All for nothing, yeah. All for nothing. Hidden shells in a universe beyond our recognition. What we have doesn't begin to touch all that is being. Yeah. Dissolve a little and be critical here. Curiosity is your vehicle to steer, and I'm here for back. You can relax now and try to take off your wrappers. They're no use to me. They're no use to you. This is all there is to us, really. Yeah, yes, really. Roaming specks, complex, explain systems inside of ourselves, inside of our heads. All connected, not expected to see truth. Or question what comes next. Oh, question, oh, question, Remember that your eyes open and your heart's living, yeah. Your heart beats and your soul's Yes, indeed. 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 Yes, indeed.
Wow, Mark, that is absolutely stupendous. Like really, really amazing. I'm a huge fan. I love her voice. I love the production. I love all the mixing. I don't really have any sort of issues with it. I felt like at the end there, as it kind of got to the teardrops kind of breakdown thing here. Which definitely, teardrops must be an influence on this. I think I would essentially just kind of verb that out as it went down. Like, what's the most generic reverb here? Like, you know. So you see what I did there is I started with a 4.5 second reverb and slowly introduced it and then went to infinity at the end and then did that. That's what I would do just to really add the mood at the end there. Really fantastic work. The vocals definitely are like super, super loud, like 90%. They get a little quieter near the end, and which is actually kind of in keeping. A lot of the time they're super like big and fat, and I do love her voice. But I think you could a little bit of breath, a little bit air on there, a little brighter, but not like aggressive brighter, but like air brighter might be kind of nice. These are very subtle things. I think the main thing is that, look, first of all, the track is phenomenal. The ideas are unbelievable, Mark. Really, really great work. I mean, as it stands, it's a song that could easily, with a bit more reverbs in general, just a little bit more space around it, could easily be used in film and TV for bed music, for, you know, if you can get it in the right hands of TV shows and stuff, it's absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. I think for me, though, as a pop song, not that I'm saying you're trying to do a pop song, I'm not quite sure where the chorus is and what it is, where I thought this happened here.
Hidden shells in the universe beyond our recognition. What we have doesn't begin to tell
I mean, it's fantastic. And then it goes to this.
Oh, question, question, no question, quack, quack. Remember that your eye is open and your heart's open.
There's not an identifiable, initially listening kind of element that I go, oh, here's the chorus and it's coming backwards and forwards. But you keep the interest so exciting. I think if you were to verber out a little bit more, just to, you know, and you could do some short and long delays very quietly, and you can even drench the delays in a bit of verb as well. And I think that would give it a bit more space. But I think in general, pretty darn fantastic. Really. I'm not asking you to rewrite it, because it's like a case of like, well, there isn't a discernible like hooky chorus that I get onto. But if you make it make her a bit more ambient, I was going to say super ambient, just more ambient, I think you'll be able to get away with it exactly as it is. Just really wonderful work. And try that idea, you know, where I put the verb up on the end there as well. Just really wonderful work, Mark. Really exciting. I love that Massive Attack kind of approach that you've got. I mean, I'm still a huge, huge fan of Massive Attack and Portishead and everything of that period. I'm going to use the bathroom quickly, and Eric is going to tell you one of his jokes. What was the one you told the other day?
It was the...
What was the other one you told the other day?
Oh.
And what are you going to do? You're going to put on... Do you have another mic to put on, or do you have to put mine on?
No, I'm using the camera audio.
Camera audio, okay.
Camera
so you're going to turn my mic down?
Yep. Your
I'll
mic's
use
down.
the bathroom. Okay, that'll be good.
True privacy. I'm not prepared with the joke, guys. I could tell an old one, like an old one, maybe. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone had a good October 31st. Yeah, hopefully we can start doing this once a month. Maybe the last Friday of the month, or the first, I don't know. Oh yeah, it was a Star Trek joke. That was the last one. Alright, old joke, but it's a quick one. Two guys walk into a bar. The third one ducks. I'll let some of you think that one through a bit. Hey everyone, what's up? Sheila, Darren, Andrew, Magnus, Christian, Peter, AJ, Tim, just everyone. Yeah, AJ, that interview, I know it's totally in the back of my head. Like it's always there. That's just like, oh, like I still need to do that with AJ. It's just our time zone differences and all the work, and I'm always, you know, when I'm finally home, I'm editing a video that's supposed to be coming out the next day, basically. So, yes, strong hoodie game. There you go, Anita. Yeah, well, more of these once a month. I think it's super cool. It was only a matter of time before, you know, really a matter of time before we start actually doing these with your guys' original mixes and original songs or whatever your guys are working on. I think it's a great idea. Like Warren said, he gets more, doesn't have to listen to his own stuff. And, I mean, it's just super cool. I mean, yeah, more of it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be happening way more. How do you know the stage isn't level? The drool only comes out of one side of the drummer's mouth. Drummer jokes. Yes, an Eric wig. Have you guys seen Steve Maguiro's wig? It's over here. I should totally do this. But yeah, Steve's wig, and he actually sells these at his shows, like in his merch corner. He actually has these wigs for sale, and I don't know if he has. I don't think his hair is as poofy as this right now, but there was a time. Yeah. Man. And here comes Warren, back with the vengeance.
It's a good look. What was the joke?
Oh, two guys walk into a bar, third one ducks.
Oh.
It's like, it takes a second, and then you're just like, oh.
Two guys walk into a bar, third one ducks. Was it worth it? Was it worth the wait? For Eric's joke? To put my guitar back on. We have we have recalls to do for Rick Springfield in a little bit. Yeah, only 3 though, of an album of 14 songs, so that's not bad. That's what we're going to be doing immediately after this. Okay, so next up is Mark Beeson. By the way, Mark Peacock, great work. Mark Beeson is next, and Mark's here. Apparently you look like Sideshow Bob. Mark says, I used, where is it? Oh, where did it? I used a single I previously released from my October 2018 album. I mixed it before I joined Plap, sorry. I thought I would take another swing at it. I used liberal amounts of waves, MV2, F6, dynamic EQ and Shep's omni-channel along with the Slate bundle. I appreciate any feedback and hope you enjoy the song. Fantastic, excited. Here we go.
Taste of whiskey on your lips got me asking for one more kiss, and I'm lightheaded from breathing.
It's really interesting how everybody, what references they hear. I don't. I mean, I suppose I hear Tom Petty, but I think this is more 70s. Tom Petty definitely. Damn the Torpedoes is like very late 70s, but I think of Tom Petty as more of an 80s artist. Very very late 70s, but essentially an 80s artist. That's when he got absolutely massive, right through to the mid 90s. And he definitely brought a lot of like a 70s influence, like Refugee and Don't Do Me Like That, on sort of like had it. But this, to me, is far more 70s. And I honestly just hear Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel. This is definitely Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel to me. And I don't know who's left in the UK, in Britain, that understands what I'm talking about. And also, yeah. Mark Peacock is saying Elvis Costello. Yeah, I hear that. I hear Elvis Costello. I hear Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel. Tom Petty is like a little bit in there, but I don't know what your influences were. But I think as soon as you have like those girls come in and everything, it just reminds me of Steve Harley. It's like, really, really great work. I don't have any like major criticisms. I really, really like the song. Let's go back to the beginning for a second.
Taste of whiskey on your lips got me asking for one more kiss, and I'm lightheaded from breathing your perfume. One more dance and let's leave this bar. Take a chance on an evening star. We can find a place to watch the planes fly by. Come on, baby girl, take my hand right now. Let's step into the night as the sun goes down right now. We're moving to the beat somehow. Is there a star in the sky? Shoot right by and make a little wish as our heart be the only sound right now.
So, Mark, seeing as you're saying you were going more country, I think you need to bring in those instruments. I think it's fine. You got to, it's nice that you've got that kind of strummy feel there. But I think you're going to need to put in, if you want to tilt it country, I think a bit of pedal steel would help. Even just lap steel would be really, really nice if you don't have access to a pedal steel. I don't know if there's any pedal steel players in here or not, but definitely a bit of lap steel, a little bit of that, maybe a mandolin, just kind of mirroring it would really, really help. So mandolin, potentially a banjo, something just to give it a little bit more of that, because your voice, like I said, reminds me of like Steve Harley. It's reminding people of Tom Petty. It's that kind of references. But I think if you put the instruments in there which lead people to believe it's more country, I think you'll take it over the edge. I mean, these days, country, as you know, is essentially like, 90s Nickelback, a lot of the rock stuff sounds like that. And all they do is they twist it up by putting a little bit of like country flavor in there of a couple of instruments. I think what you're doing here has definitely got rooted in the 70s. So if you can just add in a couple of instruments like mandolin, pedal steel, lap steel, banjo, one of those or two of those would just tilt it towards a bit more where you want to go. But I absolutely love the song. Really, really great work. Bravo, Mark Beeson. And I love your voice. I love that Steve Harley thing, even though it might not make any sense over here in America, what Steve Harley. I know the people in the UK will know exactly what I mean. Great work. I love the level of talent here. It's unbelievable. And it's great to see, that, that 99% of the people here commenting are actually doing stuff, doing mixes, doing productions, being involved and like giving back. And I think that that's really, it's very easy to sort of sit back, but you guys and girls are actually bringing in songs and laying it bare and being, you know, being honest and opening up yourselves to criticism and learning from it. So bravo to all of you that are doing this. Really, really fantastic work. Wonderful. So Kian, Sparky is next. Sparky says, great work, Mark. Sparky says, hey Warren and lovely plappers. Sparky signing in from the UK. Been a while, mad busy trying to get my third album sorted out as well as some much needed session work. The song Pocket Dreams is my new album, Comfortable Skin. I've been trying to get the mixes right for a bit now. I'm sure you will all understand. My music style is pretty much a mix of classic rock, country rock, classic country rock, being too rocky for country and too country for rock. I hear you. So I've been trying to get that classic album sound with a bit more modern oomph, but not too slammed. I've started to love these classic records even more. Hope I'm getting there with the sound. Really interested to hear any ideas and thoughts on the mix, especially around those low-end thingies. Trying hard to up my game with the low end. NS10s really don't help there, but I love them. I hear you. Using Abbey Road Studio 3 has helped me a lot. Wonderful. Yeah, I hear you. Always looking forward to hearing all your thoughts. Thanks for everyone's fab input and advice. Version 2, more dynamics than the bridge. My dear mum always says, used to say I was never satisfied. I hear you. That was always my report card at school. Warren never seems completely happy, even if he gets an A. I remember that. All right, here we go. Pocket Dreams by Sparky.
Just a girl working hard, you know, living life the way it's always been. Now his boss has gotta let him go. He's always dreaming of her, you know, and living hard times is what it means. They're just gonna dream of each other all the time, sleeping next to another. They're just living while they dream. Come Friday, they'll head for the weekend, cussing money for money they can't spend. Carry on with their pocket dreams. Their pocket her. Every night he's hoping she'll be there. Can't seem to get her out of his mind. And she's wondering if he's dreaming about her. Maybe one day they'll end up together. She thinks about him all the time. The conversations that they've never had, borrow nights and look so sad. They're just gonna dream of each other all the time, sleeping next to another. They're just living while they dreams. And come Friday they'll head for the weekend, cussing money for the money they can't spare. Your life behind, or are you scared of what you'd find? To touch the hand you should never hold, to feel the warmth and lose the cold, or would you simply walk away, dreaming each other, all the time sleeping next to another. They're just living happy dreams. And come Friday they'll head for the weekend, cursing Monday for the money they can't spend. Carry on with their party dreams, their party dreams. Just cursing Monday for money they can't spend. Their party dreams. Just cursing Monday.
Amazing. Kian, Sparky, great work. Everybody's commenting just on the level of the quality level of everybody's writing and production here. It's just really amazing. And the fact that there's so many of you play instruments, which is fantastic. You know, I was being asked this yesterday. What company was I talking to? Oh, I'm always talking about 50 different companies. Some company yesterday was asking me how many people in the academy play instruments, and I was like, I don't know, most of them, lots of them, quite a large percentage, you know. And it's not a prerequisite to be a musician, but it really does help. And it's fantastic that we can help solo artists as well. We have a lot of solo artists coming here trying to, you know, build up their abilities to produce and engineer and mix their own music as well. This, I believe, Sparky, is a wonderful song with wonderful productions. I only have two overall things. One of them are, like, on some of the drum fills, it gets a little too sloppy for me. There's like a couple of kind of flip, and it loses a little bit of the groove. So I would not be afraid to get in there and just tweak fills and just make sure that the groove is consistent. If it's like a, you know, I'm old-fashioned. I like my bat boom, dabba boom, pat boom, dabby boons. You know, those are my sort of fills that I do. I always start drummers. I break them down. I take them back simplistically, and do that. I don't know if it's a recut the drums. I think it's more of a situation of like just going in there and doing some judicious editing, because there's just moments where the groove gets a little lost. That's the first thing I would do. And then overall, the drums, I like the sound where I can hear them clearly around here.
Sings to the radio, just a girl
I like that heartbeat kick here.
to the radio, just a girl working hard, you know, living life,
Love the air on the kick here.
living life,
There.
living life, living, 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 living.
That's just great. So there's some really good drum tones there. They just need to be ridden, automated up. I love the sound of what you got going on there. So I would go in there, straighten up some of those fills, and then bring the drums up in general just a bit. Just bring them up so they're just a little bit more evident. I don't think they need to be slamming like kick and snare like rock. They just need to be a little bit more evident. I love the whole groove and the feel of this song. I think it's mainly working on the drums volume-wise, working on the fills volume-wise are the two biggest things for me. The only other thing I would say is like this is a great, because it's a great song, it's a great opportunity to offer this up to Academy members to get mixes that you may or may not want to use. I just feel like this is a really, really, really fun song showing off great recording techniques. You know, it's very, very acoustic, and I don't just mean acoustic guitar, I mean like very natural sounding. Great work. Really great work. If you're down for it, Kian, Sparky, again, you know, if you want to email Eric a link to the tracks, he can put it up. And anybody that wants to do any video content on anything for the Academy of like how they recorded, put up some kind of 5-minute video, something describing how they did it, that is always massively appreciated. It's like a next stage for us is sharing those kind of things. Sparky, great work. Really great work. Really fantastic. Yeah, for me, working on the drums, I think is going to be the biggest deal in that. A case of editing where it's loose, editing where the fills aren't quite happening, and getting in and just automating those tones, because I think you've got it there. Really great work. Next up, just 2 more to go. We have, wait, who's next? We have Velkup Bagdi. Hopefully, or Bagdi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name properly. I apologize if I'm not. This is so amazing. Below is a song I'm working on. It's about anything in your life which we lost and want it back, but unsure of getting it back. It's in Hindi, and I've recorded it in my home studio. Everything with an SM57 and some and a Behringer C1. I have a Kali Audio LP6s, fantastic, in an untreated, really small room, and an Arturia Keylab Essential MIDI controller. I have a user stock Logic Pro plugin. Some tracks are noisy, but I really appreciate some light on the mix and also the feel of the songs. My first production, I have a studio booking next week. We'll be doing retracking vocals and guitars. Wonderful. Please share your critique on this one. I'm really looking forward to it. Excited to hear. All right, here we go.
क्योंकि हाथ जो छोड़ा कभी मिलेगा ये मुमकिन नहीं साथ चलते रहे बर्बादी तो राहें भी मुड़कर चले सोचूं मैं बस अब यही तू मिल जाए कहीं कहीं दूर मेरा होगा कहीं दूर तेरी वो छाँव बहुत दूर मेरी वो नाव है जो ले जाएगी तेरे पास जो ले जाएगी तेरे पास क्योंकि हाथ जो छोड़ा कभी मिलेगा ये मुमकिन नहीं
Wow, absolutely love this. Yeah, this 6/8, you know, I love it. I mean, this is really, really super creative. Now, obviously, we all picked up on the same thing. The vocal needs to be ridden, you know, it needs to be louder, with obvious places where it gets lost. But on the whole, the instrumentation and the thought process behind it is really, really fantastic. It's interesting. It's like, it shares some similarities in approach to say where Paul Wickham's coming from. Like if I was to like cherry pick, be the A&R guy, I would say Paul Wickham and Valkup, you need to work together and do some stuff together, because it's almost prog. It's like, it's got that sort of like, from a British prog kind of perspective, it's got that same kind of, you know, perspective that you would have like in early 70s, kind of like Caravan, you know, Crimson. It's got that same, you know, it's not odd meter timing, but you've created a 6/8 groove, which is definitely 6, because you know, it has a. The reason why I'm not saying it's 3/4 is because it has a complete cycle that feels like it's counting to 6. You know, you could argue 3/4, but you know, I love it. It's really, really interesting. Wonderful guitar arrangements. Really, really super creative. I love your brain. I think it's really great. I feel like this is perfect for people to collaborate and do stuff, because that kind of thinking really makes music incredibly interesting. So do some vocal work on this. Get it so it's audible at all times. Bring it more up front. A bit of effect on the vocal, I believe, as well would be really, really great. And otherwise, fantastic, super creative. It's great to have you here doing such interesting music. Thank you, Valkup. It's really amazing. And just so you know, we are releasing videos in Hindi. Obviously, it seems like you speak English or can read and write English very well, but we are doing stuff in Hindi as well. I'll keep you abreast of that. All right, next up, last but no means least, is Jim Johnson. Here's an original song our band is currently working on. We recently got back together after not playing for around 30 years. Wow. Of the songs we are currently working on, we feel this one is the furthest along. We'd like to send the songs out to be mastered when complete, so any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Hopefully you enjoyed the song, and thanks for listening. You rock! Last but no means least, Mr. Jim Johnson.
Just turn your head and laugh. How am I to
searching for my soulmate. I thought that you were meant for me, and I can't take it all this heartache. Girl, you know it's killing me. Could I get a chance? I'm searching for my sweet romance. I'm asking you for one good try. That you were meant for me. Say goodbye. You see, I'm on my knees, and I can't take it all this heartache. I'll give you anything you want. No, it's killing me. Could I get a chance? I'm searching for my sweet romance. I'm asking you for one good try. That you were meant for me. You see, I'm on my knees, and I can't take it all this heartache. I'll give you anything you want. No, it's killing me. Could I get a chance? I'm searching for my
Yay! Well, I love that chorus because you've got this C feel in the verse, and then you've got the A minor searching for the D, A minor, the D, the F to the G, but then there's just this twist when you go to the sixth. The ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Love it. That's just a beautiful, beautiful chorus. Like, bravo. Jim, did you write this song, or you wrote it with your band, or it's your band, whatever? It's a really, really good song, and I love it. It's very kind of eagerly. Somebody said Poco. Yeah, definitely got that West Coast 70s thing. I think the only thing I would work on is maybe like a hookier guitar line. I mean, I like it. It's maybe I'm being unfair. I mean, I like it. It's following the chords, but is there? I like that easy feeling, easy feeling kind of Eagles thing. But could I push you maybe to just get that to be just a slightly bit more hookier? That's something you could sing along with. It works. It's a really good line. It's definitely done. But yeah. So. That's what you're doing, so maybe. You know what I mean? Just. You know, it's something that maybe could be a little bit more repetitive. You know, but you know, just something like it, because at the moment it's a good guitar line, but it's a little bit of a solo. I think I want to hear a line that I could sing along with. You know what I mean? I mean, 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. This is me. I just feel like it's a super hooky, poppier song. It's definitely got Eagles. It's definitely got Poco. It's definitely got a 70s feel about it. But I would be pushing you if we were in the studio to like, okay, that's cool. I know that you can play a solo around the chords. I see you framing the chords. But can you give me a hookier thing that when it comes on the radio, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I know this song. They can almost sing, you know, whether they know it or not, they'll sing in the melody of the guitar part. That's really what I would do there, you know. Yeah, as Adrian's saying, something a little bit more repetitive, just so we can hear it. Wow. And again, I mean, whew, if anybody wants to let other Academy members mix these songs or do other work to it, and I understand it's not always possible, especially if it's a band that you're working with or it's your own band and every member has to sign off. Totally understand. I don't want to put anybody under pressure by saying this. But if you are happy to do that, that would be amazing. It really helps everybody. Jim, absolutely wonderful work. What an amazing week to do. It's been a couple of hours and it's been a lot of fun. A couple of hours of doing this. I look forward to doing this at least once a month outside of the songs that we do. Obviously next week there's going to be a new multi-track, but keep these coming. Great work. Bravo, everybody. What an amazing place. Thank you everybody here that writes and produces and plays and is willing to do this and then willing to get, you know, to get in and help each other and be constructive. It's tough, like rolling up your sleeves and putting music up here and letting us all listen to it and critique it and come up with ideas and help is just really fantastic. What an amazing Feedback Friday. What amazing work that you all did. Thank you everybody who's in here, who watched. Thank you Ken, Marcus, Magnus, Devon, Paul, Mark Peacock, Mark Beeson, Kian, Volcap and Jim Johnson for letting us listen to your songs and taking constructive feedback and just being really wonderful and supportive. Thank you, amazing community. Thank you all here. Tim, covers. I'm not sure. We could do covers. I think I like the. Maybe we'll do a covers week. We'll announce a covers week and give everybody the opportunity. But let's at the moment let's stick with this. It's absolutely amazing. Great week. Really fantastic. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Look forward to seeing you again next week. And over and out. Oh, and please go and check out today's video, which is up. It is called, What is the Role of an Audio Engineer? If you don't mind running over there after this, that would be amazing. It's called, What is the Role of an Audio Engineer? It's the Fact Friday, and I will answer any questions you have. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I'll see you all again very, very soon.